Next, we've got Zine Nkhukwana. Zine is a visionary leader, entrepreneur, and an advocate for women and youth empowerment in the ICT sector. As the CEO of Nedbank Management System, a 100% female-owned ICT training provider, she has partnered with global leaders like Google, IBM, and UNISA to deliver transformative digital skills to underdeserved communities across Africa. She currently serves as the ICT sector stream lead at WeConnor, where she advances women empowerment in ICT across Africa. Zine, please make your way onto stage. Please let's put our hands together for Zine. Mama. All right, thank you so much to our panel list for joining us. I'll start off with you, Ntsako, my brother. I briefly mentioned, your bio, but you know how bios are. You mention all the nice stuff, what you've done, your achievements, etc. Who are you? Where are you from? And why this industry? Is it on? 1, 2, there it is.
Hi everyone. It's a pleasure to be here. First of all, thank you so much for the platform, to everyone who made this possible. My name is Ntsako Mgiba. Earlier when he was asking where is this person from, I shouted Bushbuckridge, but I selfishly shouted Bushbuckridge because that's where I'm from. And I was really hoping it would be someone from my hometown. So I'm originally from Mpumalanga, from a place called Bushbuckridge, but I've moved around a lot, so I'm somebody who grew up moving around to different places. I've lived in Johannesburg a couple of times, I've lived in Durban, lived in Cape Town, and that's ultimately where I studied mechatronics. I think if I were to describe myself, I would say I'm a technologist. I'm a techno-optimist, so I believe in the power of technology to really, transform society for the better. So that's something that I'm really passionate about. But I'm also really passionate about leadership development on the continent. So I want, in my lifetime, to develop as many leaders who are going to go out there and go and develop other leaders. And in that way, I believe we can solve a lot of the systemic issues in the continent. And then I'm also a husband, I guess. So that's me in a nutshell.
Why are people laughing when you say I'm also a husband? That's important. Very, very important. Thank you. Let's put our hands together for Ntsako. This question is so important because, we do know that we've got people watching from all over the country. There's a young lady, young woman, young gentleman that is from Bushbuckridge, and they've got these dreams, to get into these. So you're an inspiration as well to many who are watching you. Let's move to Zine. Mama, thank you so much for joining us. Siyabonga kakhulu. Umama ubuyapi, the journey, the background, and how did you get into this industry?
Audible? Now I'm audible.
Yes, ma'am.
Wow. Have we got the whole day?
Unfortunately not. We've got 30 minutes.
All right. So if you're asking where I come from, the journey, that will take us the whole day. Good afternoon, everyone. It's so good to be here. It's actually quite nice to see people in the township doing what they love, because we really need to be, we are on our own. Let me start there. We are on our own. So I moved from there, my brother being on my own. To cut the long story short, when I left government, of course in a cushioned position at that time, then I started my own business called Nedbank Management Systems. I was an executive director in corporate services a long time ago. I had already won some awards because I was being cushioned. But now when I started my own business, reality struck. And the focus of my business has always been really looking after the people in the townships, but particularly people in the rural areas. Sure. So I've built my own innovation center. I chose a rural area down in the Eastern Cape, which is not particularly where I come from, contrary to what people would think, but I just chose a rural area where I have put that innovation center so that we actually practice what we preach when we talk about bridging the digital divide. South Africa, it's fairly known everywhere that it is the most unequal country in the world. And if you are not in technology, if you are not innovation, then therefore this digital divide will continue growing. So that's where I come from. Other accolades that I have, I don't think that are important. It is work that I'm currently doing right now. It is not about me. It is about the people that I'm currently serving. I stay here in Gauteng, in the bright lights of Gauteng, but my work is all over South Africa. Having heard that being the first female-owned company in the whole of Africa to partner with Google, I didn't like that.
Incredible.
It's not something that I'm proud of because I don't know any other person who have done that after me. And I don't like being the first and not anybody coming up after me. So when I started working with Bulelani, I said to Bulelani, I need people from the township to emulate the work that we are doing. You can't always be the first and the only one.
Sure.
So that's where I come from. I'm very passionate about women development. I'm very passionate about YouthNet. And that's the work that I'm doing. Everything else that you have read on my CV, discard it, hear what I'm saying. That's what I want to do, is to empower women in technology. Thank you.
Lizzy, for those of you who don't know who you are, as if I didn't read your bio, I know extensive work, in management and consulting, but having also traveled, you've met other entrepreneurs on technology, innovation. Tell us a bit more about that industry and the entrepreneurs that you've met and what you've seen and what you can share with the entrepreneurs today.
Yeah. Thanks a lot, Sbu. I also want to encourage the young girls from Tefluop, Limpopo, to say I'm also from there, young and bred there. And I think you ask a good question, right? To say, why am I here? Besides that, I'm representing Nedbank.
Sure.
Part of the work that I do for Nedbank is running strategy. And strategy looks at what are the trends that are in the market and what opportunities or threats do they bring to a business, and what are your capabilities that you have to be able to either tap into the opportunities or address the threats that might be coming, coming forth. And we've seen what disruptive technologies are doing.
Sure.
And what do I mean by disruptive technologies? We talk about things like now the latest trend, Gen AI. It's a disruptive, technology. You look at something like Internet of Things, where you're able to connect everything in your house, and you can switch on your aircon whilst you're sitting here. You can switch on lights at your house whilst you're sitting. It's a disruptive technology. So that's what we call, big data. It used to be, kind of like, disruptive technology. And we look at those and we start saying, what opportunities do they create? Not for us as a big business, but also for the whole ecosystem around environmental, social, and governance. Like you look at something like blockchain. There's a big governance, opportunity that it starts working on there. So we spend a lot of time looking at this disruptive trends and mixing them with our understanding of the local environment, and start saying opportunities for Nedbank as a business, opportunities for our clients, which includes commercial banks, small businesses, informal traders, and consumers.
Sure. So we're speaking about innovation and technology, and fourth IR, fifth IR, sixth IR. We've got entrepreneurs that are sitting, watching us online and also here physically, and how then can they leverage technology to advance their businesses? What are some of the technology, apps that they can use? You've been in the market, you work with people in the township that they can use to take their businesses to the next level. We'll start with you, Ntsako.
Yeah, sure. I also realized that I didn't actually speak much to actually contextualize the work that I do. So maybe if I can just have a moment to just touch on that. So my introduction into tech was through a company that I built myself called Jonga. And we developed an affordable alarm system for townships, township small businesses and homes. So imagine an alarm that tells you on your phone when someone is in your house, and then you can immediately alert all of your neighbors and also the nearest police vehicle. So that's the first business that I built, which was a venture capital invested company. After leaving that, I went to join Yoko. I'm sure you guys have seen the blue payment machines. So I was the head of hardware operations at Yoko. So doing everything behind the scenes that actually enables those blue card machines to take your transactions. So apart from that, I'm also the founder of Darkies and Tech, which is the t-shirt I'm wearing. So in building my own tech company as a black founder in South Africa, I realized that there's a lot of systemic issues that you have to overcome just in order to show that your technology works, get the trust from the people who have the resources that can allow you to continue your journey. So recognizing that there was that trust deficit, but also seeing that a lot of the black people who were building things were doing their own thing in their own corner, I decided to try and connect all the people I knew who were also building stuff like us. And that's how we were able to grow to today, the community that whose stats he just read out. So that's just a little bit of background to give you context about some of the things I'm about to say. So I work with tech founders all the time. Every day I'm talking to tech founders, the likes of Mordecai from Maroon King, these kinds of people who are building solutions. And what I see and what I'm seeing on the ground is that township-based entrepreneurs are using technology first and foremost to get their brands out there. Right, so they're using social media, WhatsApp, Facebook, Instagram to try and create a digital presence so that they're able to offer their services and create awareness around their services to more than the people in their immediate kind of surroundings, their immediate physical geography. So that's the first way that I realize entrepreneurs are using social media effectively. The second thing that I think I'm seeing as well is, and I know I'm seeing this, is payments. So fintech. This is another thing that I think, the township economy has really adopted. If you go to any spaza shop today, you're going to see a shop-to-shop system, you're going to see a flash system, you're going to see a Yoko card machine, and there are these different machines that are there to help the entrepreneur to take our money in the easiest way possible. So that's another thing that I'm seeing that's a really awesome trend, is that, we're moving away from cash, which oftentimes creates a safety risk for the entrepreneur that's operating the business. And we're moving to more digital payments. Of course, there's a lot of work to still be done around getting consumers to have bank accounts and actual cards to be able to transact. But that's a trend that, as a small business, if you're not already taking digital payments, you're missing out on a lot of money that you can make for your business. I think I'll just stop there for now.
Sure. Zine.
Okay. It's much better now. Thank you very much. I think let's go back a little bit.
Sure.
Because we really like taking things from here. I think we are trend people here in South Africa. So I like going back a bit, because everything starts from skills development. Because how do you expect someone who's seated in the township or in the rural area who has never been taught how to use this technology that we're talking about to better their lives, to be able to do that? So if you're talking about information society and the stages from what ITU means when we talk about information society, we do need infrastructure, which the government is doing. They go out there, they put this infrastructure, they connect people in as far as broadband connectivity and all that. They've got SA Connect and all those things. But there's a big but. How are people made to understand that they can better their lives? So that's through skills development.
Sure.
And we are not talking about the skills development. I deal with people, Sbu, who are still locked in the third industrial revolution. You and I will talk fourth industrial revolution. I deal with people who've never seen how to operate a laptop. When they open a laptop, it's something, kids from school, they've never seen that. It's actually very painful as a mother to see that. The difference between my kids who are staying in Sandton and their cousins who are coming from Gombo or from Tembisa. The difference. And we are all in the same country or even in the same city.
Sure.
So skills development is very important. So for me, if you're going to be talking about this airy-fairy in all these big ways of wanting people, how to better your lives and as far as innovation is concerned, all those things, without going back to the basics. I need these people who are here, who are SMMEs, who are here, to be taught, starting from the basic digital literacy. It must start from the basic digital literacy. We are, in my company, we are now an accredited Cisco networking academy. We're actually just coming from getting an award in Dubai last week as a community builder of the year. And we're operating in a rural area. We're operating, there's nothing wrong with you being in the township. I work in the rural area. There's nothing wrong with you. Let's start from there. I stay here in Joburg, in the bright city lights, but my work is out there. So skills development. You are not going to talk to me about innovation. You're not going to talk to me about technology when we haven't taught these people what they need to learn. You're not going to talk about AI when they don't know what AI means, because everybody is scared of that AI is taking over everything. So we need to skill. Let's start from there. Government, and it's actually quite sad that Matome is not here, because he knows me. I would have been questioning him about that, because we've sat in the panels before. They're the MICT system. We need to skill people. Government needs to open up these funds so that we can be able to skill these people. And let's go back with the qualifications that are being offered here in South Africa, because these big companies like Cisco's, like Google's and all, the skills that are needed right now of the future, right now, they don't particularly need a qualification that's a 3-year degree that South African companies are looking for. We're talking about the skills, the actual skills that are going to get you the job. The people that I train can be taken anywhere at any time, because they are writing global certificates. Here in South Africa, we are stuck with a SAQA registered accreditation.
Talking about skills, before I move, what are those skills that we need to be teaching our entrepreneurs before we start having the conversation about innovation and technology?
Well, I think we start from the basic ones. You are not going to be teaching somebody data science. You're not going to be teaching somebody cloud computing. You're not going to be teaching somebody IoT and all those things when they don't know the basic digital literacy. I can list all these skills and give all these big words and look intelligent. I don't want to look intelligent. Basic digital skills. It starts from there. Thank you.
And my CT seat is not here. It was going to be hard. It was going to be hard. Lizzy, over to you.
Yeah, I think, Mamzin, I'd like to say, I don't think we should limit it. I see this as things that need to run in parallel.
Sure.
There are where we need to address the basics, and there are where we need to talk advanced, because the world is not waiting for us, unfortunately. And I think, you raise a very good point to say companies of the future require skills to be built today.
Sure.
And, we need people like you who are helping to address the basics, get people to understand. One of the interesting things that when digital banking was introduced in South Africa, and this notion that you can only have a digital bank that does not have branches and all that stuff, we all said, no, there's no way. There's no way that's going to happen. South Africans, they want to look you in the eye and talk to you.
Sure.
And we have banks now like Time Bank, who have redefined what that talks about, what that looks like, who have millions of customers. So, for me, I think digital is two things, right? It's digital as a tool and digital as a mindset. Digital as a tool is the things that we talk about, say, how do these tools help you to grow your business? There's digital as a mindset, right? That starts saying, how do you think differently around how you live your life, just the basics. And let me give you a tangible example of what we're talking about. As a bank, when we're trying to get people to adopt apps, now it's standard, everyone has an app, but you think 10 years back, banking apps were an unknown phenomenon in the South African market. And we were really struggling to understand people lack of adoption around it. And we went back and said, guys, what are the digital things that people are doing that we need to look at and understand? The simplest of things is that people knew how to buy airtime on their phone. And that was a digital activity using USSD. Sure. Then we start understanding what is it about USSD that makes it easy for Omama, like our helper, she buys airtime on her phone. Like 10 years ago, she was buying airtime on her phone.
Sure.
So we started understanding what is it that got her to be so comfortable without having received any education, any skills development for her to become comfortable. And that's what I would also say to the entrepreneurs in the room, right? Let's challenge ourselves to say, I mean, a lot of people here probably follow TikTok, or you've got your content on TikTok. You are creating content. Start taking a step back and say, what is it that you found to be useful about TikTok? And how do you take that learning and bring it to your business to be able to leverage digital in a way that creates a market for you? I mean, the biggest value for entrepreneurs is that the digital platform creates a market for you, right? I like what the CEO of NVIDIA says, the guys who produce the chips for phones, for cars, and all that stuff. He said, innovation is not always about creating something new. It's about sometimes improving what's already existing.
Oh, please repeat that.
Innovation is not always about creating something new. It's sometimes about improving something that's already existing. Let me take a small example. You run a business, right? And that's why we keep talking about at least document the processes of your business. Just that by knowing to say, how does my business run? It may be in your head and we know. Write it, put it down on paper, step by step. It can even start by saying, what do I do in the morning when I wake up? Outline those steps. Then take a step back and say, how long does each of these tasks take me to be able to complete? Then after sitting there and say, is there someone who can do it better for me? Or is there a tool that exists out there that can do a specific task better for me? Simple thing is budgeting. If you realize that budgeting takes a lot of your time, you look at, are there budgeting tools that can make life easier for me? Then you just start by digitizing just that small piece of your business. Because that's why now we're talking about satellitizing digitization, because it can be so big, breaking it into small components and identifying which part of your business that's taking too much of your time that you can digitize so that you can go out and grow your sales. Which part of your processes can help you grow your sales, tap into new markets? Are there tools like e-commerce? Yesterday when we were the transport platform was sitting here, they talked a lot around the magic of unlocking e-commerce sits in our ability to address last mile delivery. To say up until we can address last mile, e-commerce will not be as strong as it is. So I just wanted to make it so practical that when we talk innovation and digitization, and people start saying, but we don't have the resources, I say, change your mindset. What are the things in your life that you can digitize? I mean, none of us, about 15 years back, if someone had said, you know you can live your life in South Africa without a car, would have said, taxi, you know. Now, there are people who use Uber 24/7, they don't own cars. And it's one of the trends that we are seeing to say, sometimes we chase ownership versus access. And as business owners, let's also start saying, what are the things that you need to own and what are the things that you need to have access to that digital can provide them to you? So it's that mindset that I'm talking about. The mindset that, I mean, I liked the example when we were looking at the impact of load shedding in township businesses. To start looking at, you know, there was a guy at a restaurant who said, look, if I run a restaurant, I need to have a generator on. But during the day, people are at work and I don't know how to use my space. Then he said, if you're an entrepreneur and you want a space to work during the day, come to my restaurant. So what does that do? And it's a trend that's driving digital. It says, I've got excess capacity. My excess capacity is that during the day, my restaurant is not being used. And on the other side, someone has a need. Someone needs space that has power that they can be used. You bring those two things together around sharing economy, then the two people benefits, because the entrepreneurs went to the restaurant to get power and electricity, and they would buy food, and the two parties benefit. So how do you also start thinking about what digital can do where there is excess and where there is a gap to be able to close that loop. So I can talk about digital the whole day, so let me leave it there.
Yeah, no, I can see she's flowing. I'm just like, go, keep going. Keep going. You wanted to add, and I think we'll then pass it on after you, Ntsako. The word for me that keeps coming out around this, I see technology and innovation, but the mindset. Please add on that. I mean,
Yeah,
obviously
that's
you then
perfect.
having started your own when you know, the businesses that you were speaking about, the adoption. What's that mindset that we as township entrepreneurs need to have? Our one thing now, after 2 weeks, it's a new one.
Yes.
Now, then after a month, there's a new one that's introduced.
And
Aye,
another
man,
one.
aye.
Yeah.
So
No,
what's
no,
that
that's-
mindset that we need to have?
That's perfect. I think that's actually the addition I wanted to make, was that I think a common mistake that we make as black people is that we always tell ourselves, I need to get the next qualification to allow myself to do something. So it's always, there's one more thing to do, there's one more thing to do. But you have to shift the mentality to, what do I have in my hand, and how powerful is it, right? Because I'm sure everyone here has a phone, right? In fact, raise your hand if you don't have a phone. Okay, so I can guarantee, no matter how basic your phone is, in your pocket, you have got technology that was more sophisticated than technology that put man on the moon. So you have as much power in your small phone as the technology that allowed us to travel to space. So if you start to change your mindset to say, hold on, I've actually got a phone in my hand that has an access to the internet, and I can create an account on Facebook. Already you can see that you have a lot more than you think you have. And if you start to shift the mentality and move it away from, but I still need to learn this skill before, and it's not to say skills are not important, they're very important. So I'm not understating the importance of skills, but how can I use what I have now without having to spend more to get to a point where I now feel like I'm allowed to do something? How can I use what I have in my hand? And I realized this, that a lot of us feel like we're not good with technology, and it's not because we're not, but it's because the product itself is bad. The product has been designed poorly. So I've changed my mindset that whenever I'm using technology and I get confused, I don't blame myself. I blame the person who designed the technology, because they obviously didn't anticipate that someone like me would use it, right? So if you start to shift the mentality that, hold on, it's not necessarily that I don't know what I'm doing, it's just that this thing wasn't designed in a way that is useful for me. I can give you a concrete example with my first business. So we had developed an app, and of course we were giving it to businesses in the township. And we realized that a lot of the businesses were struggling with our app. They were struggling to do the things that we wanted them to do. So we added an option, a feature on the app, and we called it support. And we thought, okay, if we're giving someone a channel for support, they're gonna come to us when they need help.
Sure.
But they were not calling us through support. They were still not reaching out, and they were still struggling. So then we thought, no man, let's call this thing Please Call Me. Because people already know what Please Call Me is. So it wasn't necessarily that, you are not smart. We just didn't think about who we were developing technology for. So when we started to think about our customer and how do we develop a solution that is more in line with how they live today, then we started to see people reaching out. They were saying, please call me. And then we would call them and we would give them the support they need. So it's not necessarily that you don't know anything. You've got a lot of power in your hands, and you know enough to get started.
Are you enjoying this panel? Fantastic. Zine, over to you, and then I'll open it up to the audience. Obviously, having opened your ICT Center Academy, young people coming into that, what were some of the challenges, the barriers, the mindset that they had, and how did you help them overcome that mindset that, this thing is too hard?
Thank you so much again, Sue. I think the biggest challenge when it comes to mindset is to change people from what they know that they already hold on to, thinking that it is the best. So when you're coming up with something new, particularly with technology, because it changes, as we were saying, in the next 2 weeks is something new. People thinking that they're going to be replaced in terms of the jobs, they want to use this. But when you show them where we are going, I mean the future, because they're going to be left behind, whether we like it or not. 4IR is here, it is not coming, it is here. So it's either you swim or you sink. So changing the mindset, it's an internal process. You need to accept, you need to talk to yourself. Because I can take you, like the saying that you can take a horse to the river, but you can't make it to drink. But if people don't realize that the technology is here, we use drones now, right there in that innovation center, in that rural area. Sure. One of the facilitators there owns a tractor. He also farms. As he's busy teaching and training at the center, he sends his drones to go and check the fields out there, what's happening. Once he's still at the center, then he goes to the community and says that your cattle, demolished my fields. Once he's seated at the center. So he's changing the whole community to understand that you don't have to be going and minding the cattle out there, his drones, to do that. So this is in the rural area. Not talking about just, this is in the rural area. And people have adopted that we're living with the technology. Things have changed. Come on board. Hence, I push skills development, because you can't push a person to accept something before you skill them and make them understand. But at the same time, we can't take forever, because these emerging technologies of the 4IR are here. We've got all sorts of skills that we can train you on. We can't always be talking only basic. I need to be training you on cyber security. I need to be training you on systems development. I need to be training you on how to code and how to do all those things. But I need to start on the basic, because a lot of people don't know the basic. And again, the cell phones, the biggest technology that you are having on your hand, that you are misusing, looking at you now, by being on Facebook and doing all sorts of nonsense, excuse my language, and nitukana nizinto engazaziyo nabo TikTok nani instead of really using digital marketing, market your businesses. Sure. Some of you are doing that, and it is then some of you are thriving on this, but some of you are doing nonsense. As black people, we need to call each other. Facebook, that's gone. That's 2000. We here now. Now use that Facebook, use that TikTok, use that content creation, use it for your business, because you've got it. Let yourself be known. Again, as I'm saying, our little innovation center was awarded in Dubai last week. Only last week I come from there as community builder of the year, because of the work that we're doing. So use what you have, as my sister is saying, they use what you have. Use what you have. And accept that we are shaking, we are shaking. Oh, shaking.
Yeah. And maybe, sorry, I know you need to take a question, but I think this is an important thing around mindset that I think, I'd like the entrepreneurs to delve a bit on. As financial sector, we sit with a conundrum, right? Cash versus digital, right? And most of the time, one of the things I do insights, I go on the ground and understand what drives people's behaviors and, what you need to do differently. When we ask questions around what's the challenge of adopting like a point of sale machine, or sure. The first thing that comes is cost, right? There are parts of costs that are valid, that are legit, right? Then you start unpacking it to start saying, I think the minimum now in the market starts at $4.99. I would not say which bank does that, but the minimum one starts at $4.99. And you sit and, okay, the cost of your device is $4.99 once off. You're paying commission on the transactions that are happening there. Have you ever sat and calculated and say, how much does it cost me to keep cash, to transport cash, to secure cash? Because it's not visible. It's a cost that sometimes entrepreneurs don't think about. And when we sit with them and say, start looking at what it costs you to keep this cash, to move it, cure it, do all those things, versus the commission that you're paying on it, they're like, oh wow, you guys should have just told me a long time ago. So that's why I'm starting to come to say it's a mindset shift. You know, to say always do a direct comparison around, because I even said to them, also if you are moving cash yourself, also calculate the time that it takes you to say, if you are away from your business for an hour, how much does that relate in terms of revenue that you could have lost, right? Which is more a lost opportunity. And those are the things that we are asking to say, start thinking about them when you debate the shift from the current status to digital and what digital can do for you or what it saves you. To say, sometimes an hour that you spend going to deposit cash, it's actually an hour that you could sit and do a sale that doubles the cost of that point of sale machine, that commission that you didn't want to pay. So these are the things that we talk about when we say, let's just change how we look at things and how we see things in our ability to tap into the digital and the innovations and the technologies that are out there.
Sure. Please let's put our hands together for our panel. Are you enjoying this panel discussion so far? It's certainly got me as an entrepreneur thinking. Some of the things, they are hard to swallow, but we have to. Online audience, this is an opportunity for you as well to share what is it that you're taking away from this panel. Umama said it's either you swim or you sink. You swim or you sink. And a lot has been shared. Everything that has been shared today will be uploaded on our YouTube channel. So the entire session from today will be on the YouTube channel so that you can go back and watch again and listen and watch again. So please do make sure that you subscribe on our YouTube channel. Now, I've got time for only 2 questions. I see a hand, 1, see a hand, 2. We'll do 3. Okay, can we get the mic? Name, direct and direct. Yeah, right here. There.
Thank you so much. Zbu, mine is not a question, so I think you can add another hand, ne? Because I want to add on to the conversation. I really love the insights that all 3 of you have shared because they are valuable insights. My name is Ntsako Mgiba. I run an integrated communications agency that specializes mostly on digital communications because that's how the industry has evolved. And we've seen many times with how we support our clients in that, one, digital equipment can be expensive. So I wanted to address how you can use your smartphone wisely as a marketing tool for your business. And there are so many apps. You know, we found ourselves having to Google and search for apps that help you and train you in how to take proper pictures for products or proper pictures for, or videos for your services that you're providing for your clients. And there are apps that help with that. And the minute you search on your Instagram or your Facebook, the algorithm automatically then gives you the information every time you go through your phone. So I wanted to talk about, there are those apps that you can use with your smartphone for as long as you've got data. Like the world is our oyster as entrepreneurs. And on your comment on skills and skills development, which is very important, I know that Google does courses as well that are free and accessible for anyone, where you can get trained on cybersecurity, trained on digital skills, etc., etc. My parting shot is that as long as, and I agree with Ntsako, as long as you have a smartphone and investing in a smartphone and using social media tools wisely, because there are ways in which when you post your advert, you read and educate yourself about the statistics and analytics of how your advert is doing on social media, and you get to understand, do I improve it, does it work, does this content work or doesn't? So I think digital has opened up a door and possibility for educating ourselves and growing our businesses as entrepreneurs.
Thank you so much. Thanks, Ntsako. I've got two hands. I've got my brother and I've got my sister here. So because of time, ladies and gentlemen, we have to push. Our panel is still here, so we'll still get an opportunity to engage them. My sister, your name and your question.
Hello, my name is Mbale. I'm from Mama's Love Designs. I do customized embroidery, printing, sewing, and training. My question is to Mama. I thought I was the only one who was feeling that skilling part of things. I'm currently based in Germiston, but I've got an opportunity now to move in Vosloo. It's because most of the demand is there. Churches, social clubs, those are the ones that support me most of the time, and they're my biggest customers. My biggest problem is because now, as it is, I'm sitting here in the app, invoicing your quota, but they can't even open those without offending them. And then with the part of training, you train abantwana of age, a Roderbelt High School, which are teenage pregnancy, they're coming back, they 18 years and above. Some of them don't know, and you can't say now, because when now you know certain things like digitizing our corn, how do you do that? Because the way we bang our corn, it just hit home. Which I'm not the only one actually who's feeling this. Which when now you are up there with the technology, and then now we are figalana. Bantu, they don't know most of the things that you're trying to show them. Yeah, that's to Mama.
Thank you very much. Mama?
I'm audible now.
Yes.
Okay. That's actually the biggest problem that we have now is how do we get the people in one room so that we can skill them. And unfortunately, you're not going to be able to be training one person at a time. They need to be somewhere where you can train them. And your business is not going to thrive if people don't understand. They're going to lose interest in what you are doing. You're also going to feel as if you're wasting your time whilst you are digitally, attuned, and they are not. Which is what we keep on talking about, this digital divide, this inequality. Hence, we, from where I come, that's why I got into the schism, that's why I decided to open that innovation center. So somehow, you need to find a place where the people can go and be trained, unfortunately. Right, I'm still going to give a challenge to Bulelani anyway before we go, because I don't know, I hope he's in the room. My younger brother, I hope he's in the room, because I am going to be challenging him and whoever else is coming from Tembisa. Give me a space, then I open another center here. Give me a space, I'll open that center here. And then I'll be able to train people, because I want to. Right. Otherwise, I don't know, I'm not answering your question, because you want a solution. Your solution needs the people to be in the classroom. Right? The classroom does not necessarily have to be a month long. It really depends. Because sometimes I know, this one I have to say it. Studying online, you need to already knowing something. There's so many of them out there online. We decided to be in front of the students because, yes, because when you stand in front of them, now in terms of them really grasping the content, it's not the same. Sure. It's not the same. This one is going to be grasping it much faster than that one. And you need to take everybody into consideration. So we really do need to have those classrooms, unfortunately. We can't always be talking on the digital. You can do this thing online, you can do it online. It doesn't work, trust me. And I've run my business now for 15 years. I know what I'm talking about. You still need to put people So there's a challenge, Bulelani. I need space in Tembisa.
Yeah, that's so true. I think, can I just give you some really inexpensive, very affordable ways that you can actually start to get better technology? The first thing that you can do is okay, let me just start by saying this. Younger people seem to get it very quickly. So allow your young people to explore with technology. Don't make technology seem like it's the biggest distraction. Don't create a negative stigma around technology, right? Allow them to explore and allow them to teach you. That's the first thing I wanted to say. If you have children around you, allow them to show you things. The second thing I'm going to say, very simple, is don't be afraid to make mistakes. I've realized in talking to my parents, talking to people who are generally afraid of technology, they don't want to do the wrong thing. But sometimes you have to do the wrong thing to learn. Growing up, you had to touch the stove to realize it's hot, right? So on your phone, you can see WhatsApp, right? You usually do the same thing. You go to chats, maybe you look at stories. Try and press the button that you've never pressed before. And try and understand what happens when I press this button. Do that with everything. Every new thing that I try and do, I try and think, okay, I haven't pressed this button. What happens if... So now you start to build your confidence that, no, man, I know these things. Like, when I press that thing happens. And then go and explain it to someone else. Because when you teach, you're also reinforcing. So those are some of the free things that you can do today to give your confidence, to boost your confidence.
Brilliant. Brilliant. Got a last question here, my brother. Then we close this incredible panel. Online audience, once again, please do share your nuggets. What is it that you're taking away? We told you it's access to information. It's practical, right?
Yep.
My brother, over to you.
No, thank you very much. My name is Sifiso Moyo. I wear multiple hats, but today I'm representing the Bookshop Digital Hub. We're based in Vosloorus. Actually, I don't really have a question, but rather some comments, I think, in reinforcing the message that you just delivered to us. I think to Umam Lizzy, I think it's very important that businesses really needs to be digitized because there are a lot of benefits there. And I'll talk about Nedbank. We used to bank with Nedbank as a business and had a speed point and a point of sales. And through those transactions, we've been able to acquire some loans through that. And what they will do, you will transact. You don't have to repay it, like it's a debit. But they will then, every time when they have to clear your funds, they will take their money. And it has worked to advantage. So I'll encourage a lot of guys to look at POS system and speed points because there are benefits there. And then to Umam Zine, I think you are completely correct by saying, let's put people on the class. We have done that with a women program that we are piloting in Hammanskraal. We took about 20 women and we put them on the class and we said, we don't have any other tools to teach you. Just take out your phone. And through that process, we said, explore your phone further. They were able to produce videos. They were able to do a podcast using their phone. Their podcast is now on Spotify, their audio podcast. So they've done that, it does happen. And another thing, I think it's also the advantages of products like ChatGPT, Claude AI. I mean, we've just produced, we do an agency work. We just produced an advert that is an audio advert. It now plays at Josie FM. And we wrote a script using ChatGPT. And it helped us, and it's an amazing, audio. And also, I think, lastly, my daughter is really entrepreneurial. So what I do is that she edits stories via TikTok. And she basically been able to acquire some clients to say, they can't manage the TikTok, they can't edit the videos, you can make a bit of money. She generates about 800 Rand per client. And it's working for her. So I think let's utilize our young people and let's make sure that we optimize. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, my brother. Panelists. Time. There are times when I just said, and I just wish there was no clock. Because I think there's still so much that our panelists would like to share. There's still so many questions that you have as well. But because of time, we have to, unfortunately, end this panel discussion. Please can we put our hands together for our incredible panelists? Come on, 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 come on. Absolutely, absolutely incredible. Please do not go. We would like to get a photo